What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jimmy's Garage. Today I'm going to show you how I made this asphalt tamper out of scraps sitting around in my garage. Stay tuned. Alright, so I have the masonry bit right here, and I have my 2-inch angle iron. This is 3/16, and so I'm going to cut this to get my tamper. I'm going to cut this guy down to get the size, and I'm going to do that using the $10 Harbor Freight grinder. Okay, as always, the Harbor Freight grinder did the job, and it did the job well. So I'm happy with the cuts. They're not perfect, but they don't need to be. And basically, the next step is I'm just going to get this bit to be nice and straight on the top flange of this angle iron. And then I'm going to get a couple tacks in there, make sure I'm perfectly straight, and then I'm going to weld it. Okay, the next step was just to get this piece, this bit centered on the piece of angle iron. And so I got it perfectly centered. It's right at the middle at 2 inches right there. And then I have, obviously, it clamped in place. I'm going to tack it. And then after it's tacked in, I'm going to clean everything up with a wire wheel really, really well, because you always want to weld on clean metal, especially if you want a really, really good, solid, successful connection. And then you can go ahead and weld. I am using the Chicago Electric 90 amp flex welder from Harbor Freight. I think I paid $100, $90 for this. It's, I don't know, 6 years ago, 5 years ago when it was on sale. It's a really good little machine. I've always liked the way that it welds. So, and again, if you know what you're doing, this machine can be good for you. If you're a novice welder, it might be a little tricky. But anyways, back to the bit. Okay, so I got it tacked up. So I got one up there, I got one down here, I got another one on the bottom on this side, and I got another one up there. And it may look really messy and kind of crappy, but that's just what MIG welding looks like. This is a flux core machine, so if you don't know a lot about welding, inside the wire inside there is the stuff called flux, and what that does is it melts at the point of contact when there's an arc, and it protects your weld from impurities in the air. So that's what all that stuff looks like. It's kind of technical, but no need to get into. So next step is just to clean this thing up and then prepare to weld it on. All right, now I got it cleaned up pretty good. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it on its side here, and then I'm going to zip it. I'm just going to start welding here. I'm going to go all the way down and then flip it over and basically do the same thing on the other side. And we'll probably end up doing 2 or 3 passes total to build up enough connection, because this thing is going to be slammed down a million times. As you can see, I went a little crazy. You might call it overkill, or you might call it, I just wanted to make sure this thing doesn't fall apart. But mostly, I just wanted it to kind of look cool. So I ran a whole bunch of passes. I actually had to switch and put a new roll of wire in the machine halfway through, which was kind of frustrating. But I can assure you this thing ain't going anywhere. So it might not be the prettiest. That wasn't the idea. It was just meant to be strong. And you bet your ass it's strong. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit all the sharp edges on the bench grinder there, and then we're going to wipe it down and we're going to shoot it with some paint. All right, so I got it all cleaned up. I hit it on the bench grinder to get some of the sharp edges off, and I just kind of finished it with a flapper wheel on the old Harbor Freight grinder to get some of the surface rust off. It doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect. It's a tool that's going to be smashing up and down a billion times. So now that I got it cleaned up and wiped down, I'm going to hit it with the Red Devil spray paint. I got this at Family Dollar for, I think it's about $1.60 a can. It's really good paint, nice and glossy. So we'll shoot that with paint and we'll have a finished product. All right, here's the finished product. I think it came out pretty cool. Again, this is just going to be a tamper for asphalt. It's going to be on a demolition hammer or something like that. It's actually a tool that I made for my father-in-law. He requested that. So just going to go up and down a million times. I think it's going to be plenty strong. It's going to hold nice, and I think it looks pretty slick. So that's how you can build a custom asphalt tamper with scraps around. Make sure to like the video, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate you watching, and of course, everybody stay safe out there.